want an agenda, Debbie?
Call the meeting to order. Please rise to the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
President Parker,
Here.
Vice President Robertson,
Here.
Director Alexander,
Here.
Director Jones,
Here.
and Director Neese.
Here. Public comment on non-agenda items. At this time, if there's anyone from the audience who would like to speak on something that's not on the agenda, now would be the time to do so. Moving on to the consent agenda. No motion to accept the consent agenda. So moved. Motion on a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to discussion of possible action items. Action item A, discussion of possible action to adopt resolution 2020-554, resolution of the Board of Directors of the Keys Community Services District, authorizing the agreement with, I don't know how to pronounce that, Umpqua Bank to participate in the Keys and the CSDA District Purchasing Card Program.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. This item will be addressed by Michelle.
Right now we use Wells Fargo for our banking, and they are also the people that we go through for our credit cards. So Umpqua Bank is associated with CSDA, and I've been looking over our statements and noticing there's a lot of fees that we're getting. So we called them in and talked with them, and in order to switch from having Wells Fargo provide us with our credit cards to Umpqua Bank, we need to pass a resolution. So it is my recommendation that the board approves resolution 2020-554. It's a resolution of the board of the Keys Community Services District authorizing agreement with Umpqua Bank to participate in the CSDA District Purchasing Card Program. Whenever we would switch to them, we would be able to get 1% back on all of our purchases, as well as cash advances, as well as any type of monies that we get taken directly out of our account. So I went back last year, and we would be getting back approximately $200 to $400 last year, just off of the purchases and the advances that we've gotten from our account. So we would like to ask you to approve this resolution.
Thank you, Michelle. Is anyone from the public who would like to comment? No? Board discussion and deliberation. Does anyone have any questions for Michelle or Ernie on this item?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 2020-554.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion of possible action to amend contract with Jacobs Engineering for the remaining outstanding work.
Yes, Jacobs is requesting a change to the pricing from the original contract with the district. The original contract was extended and increased by $90,000 in June of 2019 due to the delays in awarding completion of the construction contract. The anticipated completion concept construction management services was August of 2019. 40,000 change order was processed in January 2020. Now these funds were expended by late September. And Jacobs is requesting a change order in the amount of 20,000 to continue work on the following activities. The district has requested that Jacobs provide the completion of the process O&M manual to incorporate the solids handling system, testing and startup of solids handling facilities, including filter press and other miscellaneous services regarding our arsenic treatment facility. They will also assist with the resolution of outstanding construction contractor claims and construction contract closeout. The services described requires additional compensation not to exceed 20,000. Billing will be based on actual work performed. Staff recommendation is the board of directors approve this request. We have Mandy is here in the audience, our construction manager, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Ernie. This time we'll take public comment. Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions from the board members? Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
To amend the contract to the 20,000? Yes, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Perfect, thank you, gentlemen. Items from the general manager?
Yes, administrative staff report, Michelle.
I put a paper in front of you guys, and what that is that has your email address that the CSDA has for you. So for those of you that haven't taken your ethics training or your sexual harassment training, if you log on to the CSD website with that email, and then it has the directions on the paper to walk you through it, you can go ahead and log in and take those classes, as well as look and see if there's any other classes you guys want to take on there too. They have a lot of free ones that are really good. Okay, in September, we billed 1,370 customers. We received a total revenue of $199,824 from water, sewer, and street lights for the month of, I'm sorry, that should be September, it says August. We have $4,128,122 in the water fund, $3,336,859 in the sewer fund, $83,074 in the street light fund. We billed $4,063 less for September than August, and we billed $42,711 less in September of 2020 than we did in September of 2019. And I have a spreadsheet that I attached behind here. It says 2020 water, and this shows how much water was used and how much we charged. And then as the pandemic hit and we started charging less, it shows the difference in the money that we did not bill for. If you guys want to look at that. And Bill is the only one that's taken his ethics training and his sexual harassment training. So
Nice job.
Bill gets an A. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Michelle.
Then we have Mike with the maintenance staff report.
Yeah, so, the water system, September, the water production was 28.984 million gallons. And that was a decrease of 5 million gallons, not from June, but from August. That gave a daily average of just under a million gallons, 966,000 gallons. And the usage so far this year is 227.988 million gallons. To kind of piggyback on what Michelle was talking about on the revenue, that doesn't appear to have increased the water flow. You know, we did have higher last year, with the treatment plant going online and everything, but, we're back down to right about what the previous year was.
Okay.
Staff repaired, two leaking, water source lines, one on Anna Avenue, one on Ward Avenue, one on Anna was in the street, and one on Ward was just behind the sidewalk. We've installed approximately 80 of the 100 water meters that we purchased. After we get those done, I'll kind of reevaluate where we're at on that, but we've had quite a few of them dying out, the antennas that send out the signal and keeps the guys, what was a 2-hour job is taken, for one guy, is 2 days for 2 guys. So hopefully we're starting to cut that down, but we'll see where we're at. The treatment plant, we completed our second bin fill filter cake from the dewatering system. We're still using that. We plan to transition from the perlite filter aid to the polymer system and discovered that the polymer unit was oversized for our application. I don't know if I touched on that at the previous meeting or if that all happened in between, but we paid the manufacturer to come out and modify the unit to work for our size that we needed, which wasn't it was about $5,000, I believe, but it was a lot of modifications to the deal that it needed somebody that knew how to do that, what needed to be done. We have begun, I said we'll begin dosing sludge. We did a little small amount to determine how well it works. It will, I mean, the intent is for us to use that, but similar system there over in Lathrop, they quit using theirs, found that they didn't have to have it. We don't know because of all the obstacles we've overcome from starting up and getting everything kind of to work on that on the front end of the plant. So we'll see where that goes. Wastewater collection, there was no sewer overflows for September. And that's all I really have this.
Next we have is the Jacobs report. And again, we pretty much went over those critical issues that Jacobs mentioned in the letter that I just read to you. Right now what I have asked, we've taken some pictures and some videos, and I instructed staff to show those and to feel free to comment on anything there so you can explain what we're looking at. Mike, do you have anything to say on that picture there?
Yeah, well, that there was actually we were hand dosing some polymer to see how it was going to work. That was just in the batch tank. Typically, the polymer would be added to the sludge tank. It could be added there too, but we just did a calculation on how much we needed and put it in there, and it actually. At least dosing it there, it didn't work as well as we had hoped, but I don't think that means anything.
There's a new forklift with Kevin on there, so it was really needed. There he is, using it to empty out that bin. And there we're discussing issues there with that filter cake that they've been producing. And again, the filter press. So some of those are duplicate pictures that somehow got in there. There's your filter cake right there, but it's proven to be non-hazardous, right, Mike?
It did come back as non-hazardous, but it did get red flagged because it's an arsenic treatment facility. There was no detectable arsenic.
Yeah.
So we ended up designating it California hazardous. For the purposes of hauling it away, it wasn't any difference in price.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that's our no office building so that these guys can do their work in peace inside that MCC room. Boy, that noise will drive you crazy. And again, another picture of the filter press area. And okay. There, explain that there, Mike.
So the yellow looking water, that's pretty much that's kind of what we were dealing with. If you, again, kind of comparing to Lathrop, whenever they backwash their filters, their sludge would settle and you could see some in the bottom of the jar, and theirs would typically come clear above that. Ours still has iron, it's not settling. Once we add ACH to that, that hasn't been an issue in the backwash tank, but because that's basically residual that's getting transferred to the other tank, so we still kind of have that happening. And the polymer should help with that settling out. And I'm not certain on the other bottle there, that might be coming out of the filter press. So once it's run through the filter press, it's coming out clear too.
Okay. There's our guys installing our new cellular endpoint water meters. So pretty soon everybody will be able to query their account to see what their water usage is. And a bunch of other good stuff. And then those are the videos. That's the new area where we're going to be putting in the sewer lift station, and you can see all those holes around there where they were potholing to figure out where some of the lines were going. And that's the existing one. That's the one that's been doing all the work all these years, and that's the one that's going to be replaced. As you can see, the camera will show inside where there's very limited room down there, and you pretty much need 2 guys to go out on a call out because it's too dangerous for somebody to go down there by themselves. Yeah, I tried to get Michelle to go down there, but she said, no way, I'm not going down there. I think that's down there about 18 feet or so.
It's very far.
Yeah, she wanted no part of it. And then of course there's our treatment plant. We have taken these photos so that for our MAC meeting, so that we could show them where our arsenic treatment plant was, and because a lot of people really just have heard of the plant and haven't been out. So Michelle and I did a quick walk through, and I had her taking pictures of it so that everybody could see what it was like. And there, I didn't want to be one of those guys with their pants down. But anyway, it shows pretty much the plant, and I was going to explain to them how that's the beginning of the plant, and there to the right there are all the chemical injection points where we have all the ferric chloride and sodium hydroxide and everything on there. And what we did is I had Michelle during the MAC meeting use her iPad so she could record the meeting, and we could put it on Key City News so everybody could see it. But what happened was our old TV we had on there became obsolete. The MACs updated, and then the rezos wouldn't show on the old TV, so we got one that would. And as you've also noticed, we have that video camera now so that we can put our board meetings and our MAC meetings, and nowadays the community can see for themselves what's taking place instead of some of those rumors that go out there that every time we do something they're going to raise the water rates. So. But that's what it's about. course, that's the break tank, and then that's inside that noisy room that I was talking about. That's where these guys had to be doing all their paperwork. But now with that new building, we already have it. And also, we didn't have a restroom, so now we've tied it into sewer and water, and so we're in good shape now. There's our SCADA where these guys come in, get all their information about what's going on with the plant.
And I'm still learning how to do photos, guys, sorry. And Mike and Kevin don't like me very well.
Yeah.
Have you been out there to the plant, Timothy?
I have not.
No, hey, Tim, anytime you wanna go out there, just give me a call. I don't care even if it's after hours. I'll give you a quick tour of the plant, show you what's going on.
Look forward to it.
All right. And into this video's coming up shortly. But,
Booster pump station, it's typically only one booster pump running at a time. I was standing there whenever the girl hit the fire hydrant down on Road Road. It put, only 3 of them can, maximum of 3 can run, and they all came on. It made it loud in there whining.
so anyway, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Then I also was looking to doing a Saturday workshop that we've been wanting to have so that we can go back and go over our mission statement and our staffing needs and new improvements that we want to do here, not just to the district office, but like paving the alley and different improvements. And this way we could also record it so that everybody in the community can see what's going on. I'm thinking maybe the Saturday workshop would be about, say, if we could schedule it from 10:30 to 1:30, that's 3 hours. That would give us plenty of time to go over everything. And then if we get done early, well, so we get done. But next Saturday is Halloween, so that was no good. But I was thinking maybe the 7th, if everybody can make it. And then if you would, if there's any item, any issue that you would like to bring up for discussion, please call Michelle or myself and let us know, and we'll be sure that we'll set up an agenda and we'll go through everything. All right?
Perfect.
Okay, and then informational items. We have a new contact from the water boards that is working with Michelle and myself. This has to do with the Prop 1 money, so that we can pick up another $5 million and hopefully more to get our 1, 2, 3 PCD projects going. And on our settlement agreement, Todd has stated that they made a change to when we could get our money. Instead of January 15th of next year, they want to go to January 31st. I said, no problem, here you go. So it's all signed. As soon as he gets a fully executed copy of the settlement, then he will send it to us. And Turlock Groundwater, the Sustainability Plan, the GSP, they have some meetings coming up. The East Turlock Sub-Basin, they're going to hear a progress report on they have to do a Prop 218 to assess fees to fund the groundwater management in the GSA. So they're talking on that, and they're also talking about the projected water budgets. That is this Thursday, a Zoom meeting at 10 o'clock. And then in the afternoon, Valley Collaborative is a nonprofit organization set up to organize and operate local management zones. This has to do with nitrate control program. There's nitrates up and down. And we're blessed to know that it does not affect us. We got everything under control here, but and they also are gonna have domestic well owners around in the area here that get the free water quality tested. And we're still waiting on the estimate so that they can do our new dais and get this in place. So we're waiting to hear from them. That's about all I got. Let's hear any questions.
Thank you, Ernie. You guys have any questions for Ernie? Staff comment. Do you have anything? It's been a long time.
Yeah, I've got my report, guys. I sent it late to Michelle, so I'm not sure what happened. But I'll just go over it briefly. Foot Road Lift Station Replacement Project, we'll continue to review the submittals. The contractor thought he'd be able to start by October 2nd, but he didn't get his wet well foundation precast until just recently. And then it had to cure, and so now it's ready to go. So they're thinking that they'll be able to be in work as early as next week and get that going. And then he's supposed to submit another construction schedule, so we can see what his projection is as far as when it's going to get done. He has told us kind of without putting it in writing that he still thinks he can finish the job on time, which is sometime, I think it's like in February, that he has to get it done, and he still thinks he can meet that. So I'll skip down to the force main hydrogen sulfide control. We're working on the alternatives for that odor control, corrosion control for Turlock. I've got 2 identified alternatives that are feasible that I've kind of analyzed, and I put in a draft report, and Ernie and Mike have had a chance to look at that. There's one other one that came up that's a little bit different, kind of oxygen injection. They actually inject the oxygen into a side stream and then into the force main. And I'm looking at that right now. I'm getting information together. So, and we're going to meet, Ernie and Mike are going to meet after this meeting to discuss that. The last thing is this Best RV water service request. As part of that process, what we're doing is we're checking their plans to make sure the project is feasible. And so in the first check set I did, I made a comment that what they were doing on their plans was they hadn't done a survey, they didn't have a survey. What they did is they took a topo that was on this side of the freeway, topo that was on that side of the freeway that were not related, they were controlled together. And then they got an as-built drawing from Caltrans and they kind of pasted that together. So I kept asking for them to do a regular survey, hire a registered or licensed surveyor to go out there and do that work. And they kept sending me the plans without that happening. So it finally came to a head, and I just kind of said, I'm not going to say that this project's feasible until you do that. So then they said that they couldn't find a surveyor, and they came down and met with, Nader came down and met with you, right?
Yes.
And so from that conversation, he asked Ernie if our firm could do it. So Ernie didn't know. He called me up and asked me if we could do it. So I talked to our management, and they thought we could. They looked at it as far as the conflict of interest. Well, and then Andy's going to kind of take over here, but there's not really a conflict of interest here, but there's something else. So I'm going to kind of turn it over to Andy and let him explain what that is.
So the concern that we have is that in the event that the district's going to be performing work that is going to be putting onto their plan, we don't want to be taking on any of that liability in the event that that work is determined by Caltrans or results in some sort of a claim in the future, settling what, and we can imagine 1,000 different scenarios.
Right.
So what Lee and I discussed was the possibility of, I work with different surveyors, Lee works with different surveyors. We're going to reach out to Notter and recommend some surveyors and say, it's really best that you guys keep everything on your side of the table as far as the plans go, so that when they're coming to us, we assume no liability for any of that work. We're looking at it, we're reviewing it for the requirements that Lee's looking for the district requirements for the system, and we have no input, no hands on it to be able to look, because if that does go bad in the future, we want to be able to turn around and look directly to Best RV. And we don't want Best RV to have the ability to say, hey, we would have done it a different way, but you guys did this and you guys actually designed it that way, so it's on you. So that's what our concern is. It's a ticket second thing. I reached out to Nutter this morning, didn't get any response, wasn't able to catch him. So I'll keep that in close tabs and I'll make sure that Ernie and Lee are on the same page as we go forward.
Perfect. Lee, do you have anything more?
No, that's it.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you. Director comments? Nothing from the director. Thank you, gentlemen. So at this time, we are going to give the spiel from them.
Sure. Keys Community Services District is going to adjourn to closed session to address items listed on the agenda as 10A and 10B.
Let the record gavel.
No, not today. And then we just go ahead and cut